One man you don't want to have trouble with as a leader of a country is Vladimir Putin. Currently, Russia are at war with Ukraine, which has been the case for some time now. Keir Starmer has made it clear on which side he is on, but Vladimir Putin has sent him a warning this morning. We will take a look at what he has said, whilst also going over all of the headlines from up and down the country. But first, hit the like and subscribe button and join our fast-growing community. This morning, Vladimir Putin has sent a scary and scathing warning to Keir Starmer and the leaders of the West. This is what he has said.
Идет не о том, чтобы разрешать украинскому режиму наносить удары по России этим оружием или не разрешать. Речь идет о том, чтобы принять решение о том, что страны НАТО напрямую участвуют в военном конфликте или нет. Если это решение будет принято, это будет означать не что иное, как прямое участие стран НАТО, Соединенных Штатов, европейских стран в войне на Украине. Это их прямое участие. И это уже, конечно, существенным образом меняет саму суть, саму природу конфликта. Это будет означать, что страны НАТО, США, европейские страны...
In response to signs that the US may soon agree with the UK and France and allow Storm Shadow long-range cruise missiles to be used by Ukraine to bomb territory inside Russia itself, the Russian president said on state TV that the move would change the very nature of the conflict in a significant way, which would force Russia to respond. Spelling it out, he added, it would mean that NATO countries are at war with Russia. Asked by journalists on board his flight to Washington, D.C., what he made of what sounds like a clear threat, Sir Keir Starmer hit back. Russia started this conflict. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. Russia can end this conflict straight away. The Prime Minister is in Washington, D.C. to meet the outgoing American president for the second time since being elected in early July. Accompanied by the Foreign Secretary David Lammy and National Security Advisor Tim Barrow, the visit aims to bolster cooperation between the two staunch allies in an increasingly dangerous world. The Prime Minister said of Russia, they're the ones who are acting unlawfully, and Ukraine obviously has the right to self-defense. That is why we have been providing training and capability. And, there are obviously further discussions to be had about the nature of that capability. What I want to do is make sure that those discussions, tactical discussions, are set in the proper strategic context of the situation in Ukraine. And there are equally tactical issues in relation to the Middle East, which need to be set in a context which is strategic, not just tactical. Tensions in the Indo-Pacific are also likely to feature in discussions in Washington. In other news, the new Labour government is being urged to take action and avoid further disastrous spending cuts as councils at risk of falling into a £2 billion black hole next year without intervention. As part of its submission to the Treasury, ahead of the October 30th autumn budget, the Local Government Association, LGA, called on ministers to prioritise protecting local services and needs to take immediate steps to stabilise council finances and protect vital local services. According to the association, there is a rising risk of systemic financial failure due to 18 councils reliant on being given exceptional financial support by the government in February to balance their books in 2024/25. Based on LGA's analysis, councils in England are at risk of being hit with a £2.3 billion funding gap in the tax 2025/26 tax year as a result of inflation and wage pressures. This could rise to £3.9 billion in 2026/2027, resulting in £6.2 billion across the space of 2 years. Among the key drivers in soaring costs include children's social care, adult social care, councils' dedicated schools grant, and enforcing the National Living Wage, NLW. Due to these issues, local authorities are having to rely on financial reserves to offset these cost pressures and balance the books. As a result, the reserves of councils which are not ring-fenced councils plummeted by £1.7 billion in 2022-23 and £1.1 billion in 2023-24. Around 42% of local authorities were forced to draw on their reserves over this period, which the LGA does not believe is a sufficient enough long-term solution. Previously, The government has warned that the autumn budget will be painful, with departments being tasked with finding savings. However, the LGA has reiterated any further local funding cuts would push many more councils towards potential ruin and collapse the delivery of local services. As part of its call to action, the association is pushing for short-term change, which included a large and sustained rise in overall funding that reflects public demand for service. Furthermore, it's pushing for general funding for services instead of money being ring-fenced in order to reduce competitive bidding for support. Councillor Louise Gittins, chair of the LGA, said, "Councils are the key to delivering the government's priorities, but the risk of financial failure across local government is potentially becoming systemic. Councils already face a funding black hole of more than £2 billion next year. Having already delivered £24.5 billion in cuts and efficiencies, any further cuts on top of this would be disastrous." The government needs to take action to provide councils with financial stability and certainty in order to unlock their full potential. Immediate financial support and long-term funding reform and certainty, alongside a focus on preventative spending, are essential to protect services and enable councils to fully contribute to the government's agenda, from social care to housing, economic growth, and tackling climate change. Lastly, experts have urged the UK government to roll out more police officers to monitor traffic on roads and help improve safety for pedestrians. The AA has called on the new Labour government to add 1,000 new police officers to target road crimes as part of its recent manifesto, which called on the Home Office to tackle neighbourhood crime. The latest stats found that across England and Wales, there were only 4,215 traffic officers, considerably less than the highest point recorded in March 2016, 5,237. Jack Cousins, head of roads policy for the AA, said, "Be it driving offences or wider crime, public opinion suggests that too many people are simply getting away with it. It's clear that the public want to see more bobbies on the beat, so the government's ambition to increase the number of police officers is welcome. We believe there should be a wider approach to tackling crime, and that more cops in cars could produce safer communities as well as safer roads. A clear and visible presence is a deterrent itself to ensure better standards of driving, as well as sending a warning signal to criminals that the chances of being caught are higher than before." In a poll of 11,469 drivers conducted last month, more than half, 57%, said they thought drivers could get away with careless driving due to a lack of police on the roads. Similarly, more than 2/5 of drivers warned that offences such as using a phone behind the wheel, 44%, drug driving, 42%, not wearing a seatbelt, 46%, and using a dangerous vehicle, 43%, were going unpunished due to a reduced police presence. But despite the use of more artificial intelligence cameras to catch drivers breaking the rules, only 15% of drivers agree that road policing can be carried out by cameras alone. Other data points found that 9 out of 10, 91% drivers, think having more traffic police would make communities safer. Cousins added, "Most traffic cops catch other crimes in the act, such as discovering stolen goods, through routine stops. Similarly, a camera can spot the speeding driver, but it can't stop them if they are under the influence of drink or drugs. Investment in traffic officers does more than improve road safety, it produces safer neighbourhoods too." A further 8 out of 10 motorists believe that an increase in police officers could help reduce crimes on the roads. There are AI cameras in operations across 11 regions around the UK, including Durham, Greater Manchester Police, Humberside, Staffordshire, West Mercia, Northamptonshire, Wiltshire, Norfolk, Thames Valley Police, Sussex and Warwickshire. The cameras have the ability to capture an image of the vehicle and can help detect whether a driver is using a phone while behind the wheel. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.